Let's build a bridge to tomorrow.
Welcome to Silver Circles, an intergenerational conversation where we reflect on the core values that shape lives at Silver Oaks. I am your host, Aparna Prasad. I have been associated with this school for over a decade as a faculty member, as vice principal of Oak Winds campus, and a proud parent of an alumnus. I'm deeply honored in hosting these conversations. Long before the world became noisy, fast, and endlessly connected, Stephen Covey had offered a profound framework, the 7 habits of highly effective people. At Silver Oaks, these habits are a part of our schoolhouse and leadership curriculum, shaping how students learn to think, decide, take responsibility. Among all the habits, one habit stands out because of its demand for clarity. So this habit asks us to decide what deserves our best energy, not just our immediate attention. So in this digital reality, everything comes labeled important, and not everything is always that important. And this is where this habit of putting first things first becomes critical. This habit brings focus on the most fundamental distinction of the difference between what is urgent and what is important. In today's world, this habit is no longer a habit of productivity. It is a life skill. In this episode, titled First Things First, Priority Lessons, joining us in this conversation are voices across generations, a current student, an alumnus, a leader, academic leader of this school, a coordinator, and a parent. Let me introduce you to the panelists. Our current student, Arvesh, is a DP student. He's been with us from the past 12 years now. He has a passion for mathematics and problem solving. He aspires to pursue computational mathematics, exploring real-world applications, while balancing interests in music, speed cubing, and Sudoku. We have our alumni, Guna Chaitanya, a former head boy in grade 10. His journey reflects early leadership, evolving into real-world responsibility and precision-driven work. He pursued mechanical engineering from the Manipal Institute and now works in his family business as a managing partner. In a sense, this also is his startup, and he is the managing partner there. And they manufacture critical components for military aircraft and armory. We have our academic leader, Deepshikha. She has been associated with us for the past 5 years. She is the junior wing coordinator at our Oakdale campus. With a background in computer science and education, she transitioned from higher education to primary years, championing inquiry-based learning, student agency, and empowering teachers through meaningful concept-driven pedagogy. We have our parent, Mr. Govindaraju. Govindaraju Nelluri is a senior technology and payments leader with over 24 years of experience across global banks and product companies. Currently leading commercial working capital solutions at Wells Fargo, he has driven large-scale payment transformations and enterprise architecture initiatives worldwide. A prolific innovator with 40 patents filed, Mr. Raju brings deep expertise in payments, liquidity, and technology-led transformations. We have our coordinator, Pratiksha. She is our IBDP coordinator and an experienced IBDP and MYP mathematics educator with additional experience across Cambridge and CBSE curricula. With over a decade of experience in international education, she is deeply committed to real-world mathematics, critical thinking, and holistic student growth. Her work bridges academic rigor with practical application, nurturing confident and curious learners. So now I will ask each panelist a set of questions, and then we will start our conversation with our current student, Arvesh. Arvesh, when everything feels important, like studies, friends, activities, how do you decide what comes first? And to add also the distraction that is there because of the digital, devices that are there with you.
So like we have a lot of work that we have from the school and personal internships and all that, and all of them are mostly digital. So planning it digitally is something that I've been doing since a lot of time, and it has shown results. I've been able to manage my school tasks effectively and also do other things side by side. And these other things include spending time with my friends or looking at different college opportunities, etc. So I would say if I want to choose what is important between school activities and friends, I have a systematic way of going about my school activities, but not a systematic way for spending time with my friends. So whenever there's gap times within the work that I'm doing, that's when I spend time with them.
Okay. So if you had to choose and prioritize in terms of, order, how would you, which thing do you think you would do first?
It's hard to choose between a vertical arrangement. However, I would say it's again dependent on how much work is there, because if there's a lot of thing and I have to spend a lot of time on one thing, then I cut down on other things that don't need that much attention. So I would say it's more of a horizontal arrangement than a vertical.
Okay. And I will, from a current student, I will move on to the alumni to understand how this journey unfolds. Guna, please tell me, when did you first realize that saying yes to one thing meant saying no to something else?
Uh, Probably that started back here. I was the head boy back here when I was in my 10th year. So when I thought of a head boy, I thought there are more responsibilities, more meetings, more coordination, and all of that. And soon I realized the more important thing is not if everything is important, if everything is urgent, then nothing is important.
Oh, wow, that's wonderful.
So there was constant pressure from my juniors or academic perspective or be it sports or anything like that. So it is important to know where our attention should be there. So that was probably my first lesson back here, and it helped. I didn't know back then that would impact so much, but then that stuck with me.
Okay, wow, great. So you had a very early experience of, being able to shaft between what is important and what is urgent.
Yes.
Oh, great. So now I will go ahead and ask a question to Pratiksha. In a busy school environment, what often gets pushed aside even though it matters deeply?
Okay, I would say student well-being is when deadlines are piling up, when report cards are getting generated, when results are about to come, we often ignore the well-being of our students very easily. We stop asking them very often that, how are you doing? We just ask them how you did it. So I think that that is one, and that is the particular time where well-being is most important.
Yeah.
So it gets pushed away very smoothly, very easily, and I feel that that has to be there.
Yeah, yeah. Because the deadlines have to be chased, and that is a commitment between the school and the parents. I think that takes precedence. Yeah. Okay. So, Deepshikha, I want you to tell me, from an academic standpoint, what does first things first mean in education today?
So, academic point of view, if I'll see education, the first thing is what we say character. How you manage yourself, how you conduct yourself in front of everyone, keeping the values intact is very important. That is actually education. I would say clarity before the content. The education is not only content, but you have to be clear that what path you're walking on and what values you are carrying along with you. So for me, education is values, more about values.
So just to add a quick point on that, she mentioned clarity. Yeah. So as of today, just to give you a knowledge bomb, a human has an attention span very next to the last living creature in the entire world. So which is goldfish. Goldfish has only got 7 seconds of attention span. So you might have noticed fish being, just moving the attention very fastly. Now next to it is human being. So his attention span is like going towards 25 seconds to 30 seconds. Now think about not having a clarity on where to put your energies at one single point of time. Yeah. So on the other side you have deadlines. On the other side somebody is judging you. So first you need to get the clarity. Whom am I answerable to? Then goes the next things. So if you are actually keeping things in importance in an order, then your attention span would also grow higher.
So, a little anecdote. I have recently been watching this series called Ted Lasso. In that, that is what Ted tells his team that, when you go out there to play, be a goldfish. Don't be, bogged down by somebody else's judgment. So, in some ways, I think that analogy can be beneficial if you know how to practice it very well. Yeah, great. So, Mr. Raju, the next question is to you. Have you ever realized your actions were teaching priorities you didn't intend to teach?
Ah. Yeah, at home it happens a lot. Right. Okay. So let me quickly give you a quick story, right? So I do have this very important habit of reading a newspaper at home. So whereas like I have read it somewhere in my childhood where reading 20 minutes of a newspaper is equivalent to reading 30 books a year of various backgrounds, right? So you read sports, you read entertainment and all. Somehow when I was reading this newspaper, Yofi, my daughter, who is a Silver Oaks kid, so she started picking it up, reading it from the entertainment part. So whereas like I used to take the main paper, she used to take that entertainment because like it has good flashy pictures. Then slowly she started coming into the sports pages, which is on the main edition. Then slowly started getting into the business part of it. So where she started learning financial literacy. Me coming from a banking background, so that is one page where I spend most of the times. So the rest of the sports and other areas, usually I don't. So intentionally, unintentionally, she kind of picked up a habit where she started slowly following the content across the world. Then at the dinner table conversations, when we talk with my kid and my entire family, so these things will pop up. Usually kids do look out for your validation some of the times by asking the question, hey, do you know this? And when you show you are intrigued, so then they tend to do more of that stuff. So knowingly unknowingly, I kind of planted a good thing there. Yeah.
So, is there anything that you didn't want to, but then she picked up because she watches you?
Yeah. So a few things. One, see, for a younger age kids, I don't want them to be so serious at home. I want them to do fun activities. But when we don't do fun activities, where so they tend to be serious at times. So I've noticed Yofi being a bit mature slash serious, than she should want to be at least.
So adding to that, what I realized right now that we have that reflection time in our school at the end of the day. So reflection time is basically we use a strategy called grow and glow. So grow is where you understood the topic, you know that this skill you have developed, and when you are writing the glow points, what you still need to work upon. I think this is all about when you are telling them this is not urgent, but yes, this is important for your life. So I mean, as a school, we are doing absolutely right, and we are going on the right track. That's what I feel. Suddenly, when you told that, I realized that yes, we are doing.
Yeah, I see one small synergy between you two, right? So, see, these are all in the money world, we call it as compounding. Yeah, so usually things don't, huh, Right. So compounding doesn't work on day 1 or day 100 or day 200. It will take time slowly, and the tangible benefits will come at the end, where you see the curve would go exponentially until one point of time it would just look like a straight line, and you said, right, hey, why am I even reading these books? Why, yeah, so all of these good habits, 7 habits and all, why am I even needing it? So these will slowly,
These are the seeds.
After 5 years also, why my graph is still there?
yeah, exactly. At 20s it will go high, yeah.
Look at priorities, mostly what comes to our mind is the professional setup, because there it is required, but then people do forget that it is the person who brings these qualities to the professional front also. So I wanted, is there anything that you want to share?
So sometime the prioritization, the important and urgent. So actually, our junior wing is on the third floor of the building, and I sit at one end, and my HSRM, whom we, day-to-day basis we interact, she sits on the other end. Okay. So once you start with the work in your mind, and when you're moving, then suddenly the students will come, ma'am, this is the problem, ma'am, this. So till the time I am there, sometime I forget what was there in my mind, why I
No, you are just a troubleshooter. Yeah, go fix.
fix, and I forget my issues, that what I was going for. It happens, but sometimes the prioritization, I mean, the important and the urgent, that thin line doesn't work.
It is not in your
Merges.
control, because there is something that comes and that becomes the priority. So yeah. And how did it happen with you? You kind of are an innovator, you do so many things. How do you go ahead, and when did you ever feel, because looking at everything that you have done, I don't know if you have ever wasted time.
No, no. See, time is one thing that it is like the same for me, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates. See, I might not be as richer as them, but from an economic perspective, but I'm as richer as them with time perspective. We all have the same amount of thing, yeah. When it comes to, okay, so there are 3 aspects to the time, how I would actually break it to, not gyan and all, but it might actually help you youngsters. I'm a boomer. So 30, 30, 30. So 30% of your time is for self, 30% of the time is for family and work, then 30% of time is for social works, right, or to the world, right? How do you actually break it into? And usually it's kind of a Venn diagram where you would have intersections, if she can understand, yeah, where it might not be a super union as such, but there would be a few intersections in between. From a health perspective, for self, when you see, learning usually goes early in the morning. Start before, so for example, if I would be you, I would come a bit earlier, keep my time, get my things done first, exercise, all of that stuff, knock it away. Rest of the stuff I would actually go ahead and apply it for my profession. And usually in the evening times, some of the social activities like meeting friends. By the way, meeting friends, certainly you should not regret about, because that is a kind of, I personally feel like me playing badminton with friends or going for a run or for a marathon. So that would actually create a social network kind of a stuff, where it would help you in all these other 3 areas also. It would help you personally, where you will go unwind yourself. Then you can actually start professional mental health. Yeah. So, बस बैठ के बातें करो बस.
But just prioritize how much time are you spending over there. So I think next I want to ask Guna, which skill or habit you developed in school matters the most in real life today?
For me personally, I would say risk taking, because I had a choice when I had to go for my masters or start with the startup. That was when I decided, yes, I would want to pursue this. That was a risk, because I had already given my GMAT exam. Before that, I was preparing to go to a B college, do my masters then. This was a field which was very critical. The products which we do are extremely close tolerances and high precision, requires micro level precisions, and it is not just our one product. The product that we do impacts in a bigger scale. It is mission critical products.
It's like a jigsaw puzzle. So it also has to fit in beautifully there.
Every day it is like you have to make hard decisions. Even a small error here and there, and it is all new. It is all R&D. It is not like we don't have an SOP, so we have to follow this. It's not like that. We have to come up with a process. We have to come up with a plan how we're going to execute it, because that is an R&D we are doing. So every day we take new risks because we don't know if that is going to work out, if the product is going to come out right or not. If it doesn't, we'll have to start over again. So it has come. I mean, taking risks I've learned here, and it is important, and it is helping me right now. Or else maybe I would have chosen a simple, easy option to go to a B school, and then probably take up a managerial job somewhere, not take a risk, start this business.
But you also took a risk, I believe, when you decided to stick to academic studies and leave your sports. That also was a great transition because you were doing good as a sports person, right? Yeah.
I was playing inline hockey. I was a national player as well back then. That was again, yes, because I always wanted to pursue engineering, right? Even when I was in my 12th, when I was in 10th, I was sure I wanted to go pursue engineering. I was fascinated by mechanical engineering. I didn't want to pick anything. I was sure I was going to be a mechanical engineer. And then that was a tough choice I had to make back. I don't regret it. I did play for the state, so I was happy. And then I was happy I chose to go with the startup, and everything turned out well so far.
So probably you are reflecting, so it has turned out well.
Yes.
That's what is my inference. I think I would go ahead and look at that. So my next question is again to Mr. Raju. How do you balance academic expectations with your child's emotional well-being? Because this is a very pertinent question. I think a lot of parents who probably will be looking at our conversation, it would help them quite a lot.
Right. So basically, I would see it in this way, right? What is not the right expectation is first we need to identify, yeah, as a parent. Forget about what is the expectation. What is the not right expectation is expecting kids to score a certain number of marks. For example, at my time, if you get 60% of the marks, my dad used to celebrate. I was from a Jilla Parishad school. It's a government school where you go for kind of a study where the teacher doesn't come. 60% is first class, 50% was second class, and the third class is like somewhere around like 40s. And fathers used to celebrate. Then things slowly started growing up to 80%, 90%, and then above. So there is no limit to those expectations, to the numbers, right? At one point of time, with the abundance of information across, maybe 100% might be a normal, new normal. So first of all, my expectations are not there. The reason why I chose CBSE or IB kind of Silver Oaks kind of setup rather than going to any other institutions, dummy schools, reason being I want them to learn the methodology of how world works. From a scientific way, maybe my daughter is a PCM, so like how does physics really work? How can I apply it while I'm driving my car? Yeah, and how can math help me in my current regular day activities? So if she understands that, marks I don't mind at all. So my dimension, sorry?
They are incidental.
They are an outcome. So the effort is you learning the world how it works, right? So whereas on the second part, most importantly, putting the expectations in front of the kids, at least like what you have asked, is very important, right? So I cannot even say, hey, marks are not important. Yeah. So just learn it, and then I won't appear for the exams. So in the social setup, what we have around us, in the ecosystem where we are currently living in, go ahead and get some marks, but don't compare yourself or your character against the marks. Even if you see, I was very bad in math. But nowadays, all the statistical, I've got 40 odd patents in AI, right? So most of my work is in math. So, but you usually, you will learn it over your jobs. So there is a lot of learning that you need to do. So don't put everything onto schools only. So, learn values from here, learn character from here, then automatically things will come.
So, one thing that I always feel is, in a child's life, the constant always are the parents. Rest everything are the variables, like a mathematical equation. So, the variables, if the variable is very productive, adds more value, then the outcome of that equation is great. So, what remains constant are the parents. I think if they bring in a lot of value, the equation is always valuable, at a greater result it gives. Yeah. So, my next question is to Deepshikha. I want to ask you, what must always come first in education, no matter how the world changes?
What I said previously, the values, no matter how the world changes, because it will keep changing, new things will keep erupting, but you should hold on your values, you should hold on your identity, and that teaches who you are and how you should proceed.
And skills also, I think,
Yes, I mean, the skills, when you develop those skills, automatically, I think you will know that who you are and where are you going. Maybe when you're trying to find out yourself who you are, maybe in the process you are developing those skills. And as you said, rightly said, ma'am, that yes, skills also play a major role. In the education.
So, Arvesh, how does the school help you decide what truly comes first when you feel overwhelmed? Do you get any support?
Yeah, firstly, like feeling overwhelmed, one aspect that I feel like, oh, it's a little hard to do is finding colleges. Now, career counseling is something that I've heavily relied on by the school system. And I would say that it's the most visible thing that I'm relying heavily on. And our career counselor is really wonderful. She helps me, like, guides me on the right path. So, like, if I'm hindering other places, she says, no, don't explore those. This is what your interests lie in, and this is how you can go through it. And that she doesn't provide me a path directly, but a way to manifest it on my own. So yeah, the school supports me in that way, I would say.
Okay, great. So, as a coordinator, can you also add on how the school supports children when they are overwhelmed?
I would say there is one thing which can reduce this particular thing inside students is like we give feedbacks to our students in terms of, as ma'am said, reflection time. So we give continuous feedbacks. When I say the word feedback, I think a few years back the meaning of feedback was only the end marks or the end results, or the report cards are your feedbacks. But now when we have continuous assessments, feedbacks generally are seen to be as a kind of verdict, as a kind of judgment, I would say. But
It's like a full stop.
full
The
stop.
sentence
So
ends.
this is your result and this is you are. So if schools actually support the children in a way of giving feedback in a manner that this is where you are, this is where you have to go. If we can give this kind of information to the students,
And this is how you can go also.
this is how you
And
can
that's the
go.
feed
Yeah,
forward
feed
that
forward.
happens.
We say, we
Yeah.
actually use this word feed forward in this our Silver Oak school many times. We write that also, feed forward. So the feed forward is like the teacher doesn't leave you at a full stop, the teacher leaves you with a path, with a continuous directed path. This tells the child like, okay, I have achieved this much, but yeah, the path which is shown, I can cover up this. That's not so difficult. So the anxiety of the child reduces at that point. I feel that feedbacks play a lot importance in all our small formative assessments, in our summative assessments, these feedbacks, and this will finally lead to the
Desired result for that
full
point.
stop in life.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
say there is never a full stop. We have just kept in our mind that report cards are full stop, but its life is ever going. So I feel
It is that, instead of saying they didn't do, it is like not yet. they will arrive.
Yes, you will
So
come
it
to that
is,
point.
not yet, and then they have arrived. So there is a very different way. It's a more compassionate way of looking at the same thing.
As sir said also, like he was not very well in math in his childhood. I can clearly understand there are so many people in this world right now who are dealing every day of their life with mathematics, and they were very bad in math. So it means the full stop and the feedback which we gave at that time was not actually correct, right?
So what Pratiksha is talking about, I remember, like we say, perfection is a trap. You should believe in the process rather.
And then make mistakes also. See, unless until you don't make mistakes, how would you actually learn? So in our corporate world, it is called as fail fast. So the earlier you fail in your processes too, yeah.
So it helps. See, so you don't have to regret.
In our line of work, it is always like it's a trial and error. We are doing research, so you take a risk. It doesn't work out, you learn from it, move on, try and do better.
Be the goldfish, but move on. Okay, so my next question, Guna, to you is, what advice would you give students about focusing on the right things early?
Focusing on right things early. There. It's like what matters to you is what you should put first. That there'll be times when you'd have to decide between uh, going to a practice or attending a school event. There'll be times you'd have to face situations where you'd have to pick exams over other stuff. So you should not deviate from what is important. You should always know, you should always ask your question, the decision I'm making right now, what are the long term impacts on that? So when you know, when you focus on what are your long term goals, so your short term goals become clear. You know what you have to do today, what decisions you'll have to take today. So just try not to do everything. You can't do everything. So focus on what is important and try doing that exceptionally well. That's it.
Right. So, as we near the end of our podcast, I would want each panelist to bring to table one insight that is a kind of takeaway for you from the conversation that we had here. So, I want to begin with our parent, Mr. Raju.
Why not? Why not? I've learnt a lot from my buddy sitting there in Silver Oaks uniform. So one thing I've learnt from him is you don't need to be, knowing everything. So understanding where you can actually do right thing at one time, then slowly building up your character, then building up your knowledge, skills, asking for the right help would be the right thing to do. And I can apply it in my real life also. So even in corporate career, we are all students. We tend to learn every day, we tend to fail every day, we tend to take risks every day.
So I think all of us are students and learners at relatively different timelines. So no difference between Arvesh and all of us. We all are learners. And as you said, not everything we can do, but we certainly can do something. And then knowing what to do is a good insight. Wow, good. Pratiksha, what is your takeaway from this conversation that we had?
So I would say that I stand at a juncture between Arvesh and between Guna and between Sir. So all of us in the school, we stand at a juncture. So we are having children from coming as inputs here, and then they are at the end product. So with this, I can understand that again, I will repeat that same point, that marks are not something which is going to give you the final decision of your life. And we should not put a full stop to marks, and we should not say like, because you achieved this, you will end up here only. Because we can see it is very evident here that you can become completely different from what you were in school in terms of your report card. So I can clearly, it was my understanding before, but now I can see that people have kept a signature on that. That's really nice for me to again understand it better.
Deepshika, what is your takeaway?
So my takeaway is like, there's no point where you can start, but there is any point from where you want to start, you can start. I mean, like Guna said that he doesn't regret, and he was thinking that maybe some time was wasted, but still, wherever he's right now, maybe you don't know maths before, but now you know. So the moment you realize now I need to start, you start. That's my
So
takeaway.
there is never a delay. There is nothing called as late.
Late, yes,
Yeah.
never late.
Yeah. Arvesh.
Yeah, to me, I think the most interesting thing I found is that in his decision of choosing between his career or playing internationally, he still took the decision to go with his career and still didn't regret it. So the key takeaway for me would be that I shouldn't be afraid of taking a heavy decision. Like both of them are wonderful options which would lead to a good life, but it's hard to choose between two things that are in that case, right? Yeah, so regret, being confident in what I want to do is something I'll take.
So you better, there is no right decision. I think you take a decision and you make it right. So I think that's what probably he has done. You know, he has taken a decision and then did not mull over. Could have been, what would have been. So it's more of I've taken a decision. I move forward now. Yeah. So Guna, your takeaway from the conversation here.
My takeaway is you should not expect results immediately. It is a process. It happens gradually over a period of time, and you should just trust in the process and focus on what you want, what is important to you, and everything will fall in place.
So, so as we come to the end of this conversation, one takeaway that I feel is very, very important. One thing that I understood is everyone, though our contexts are different, but we all have the challenge today, especially with the digital, reality that is there. We have the challenge of deciding what comes first. So the response time between something happening and we responding to it has reduced quite a lot. As Mr. Raju said, we are the goldfish. But I think since, we have become like goldfish, understanding and having the clarity of what is important and what is urgent requires an intentional focus. And putting first things first is not just about organizing our time. It is about organizing our choices. And what we choose is what we become. Thank you for being with us in this conversation. We look forward to having you again in our next episode. Until then, 3 cheers to Silver Circles.
Let's build a bridge to tomorrow.